Before I begin my story, I would like to give credit where credit is due. This story is called Benjamin's Box, and it is based on a children's book it's by Melody Carlson, and it's about a little boy who follows Jesus around during his final Passover week and collects items that he shares with others to share his faith and what he learned about Jesus during that time. I've taken it a little bit different direction, but I wanted to give credit to her. I want to also give credit to God because God is my inspiration. He brought me to this point where Rusty and I will be doing this. And I also want to say that if you don't like the program, you can blame Tom, because Tom put me up to this. So that being said, this is something that I hope that you will enjoy. It's a little bit different than what we normally do, and I feel privileged to be able to bring the Easter story to you in a different way. So I hope that you will be blessed. So, Rusty.
Yeah?
Do you have any big plans for tomorrow?
Oh, you know it.
Okay, what are your plans for tomorrow?
I am going to hunt eggs and eat candy until I get sick.
That's your plan?
Mm-hmm.
And you think plan?
Oh, yeah. My mom says I'm coming to your house when I'm done.
You are not coming to my house.
She said you'd say that.
Yeah. Okay. What is Easter really all about?
Well, that's easy. Eggs and chicks and bunnies and candy.
Well, would it surprise you if I told you that you were wrong?
My teacher tells me that all the time, so no.
Okay. You are wrong.
I knew it.
Do you know who Easter is really all about? There's a special someone about Easter.
Oh, yeah. I know a song.
You know a song about this person?
Mm-hmm. Here comes Peter Cottontail.
No. No. It is not Peter Cottontail.
Well, who is it?
Well, I'll give you a hint. Where are we at?
Is this a trick question?
No, it's not a trick question. Where are we at?
We're at church.
Okay, and who do we come to church to learn about?
Oh, Jesus, of course.
Easter is about Jesus.
No way.
Yes way.
I thought Christmas was about Jesus.
Well, Christmas is, but so is Easter.
I don't know.
You don't know. Well, there's you see this box right here?
Mm-hmm.
If you would like to know what Easter is really all about, I can use that box to help teach you what it's really all about.
You're not going to make that thing talk, are you?
No, I'm not. There are things in the box.
That would be kind of weird.
That would be a little bit weird. Would you like to know what's in the box?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all right, so let's take a look. Before I actually pull anything out, though, I have to tell you, do you know where this box came from?
Walmart.
No, it's not Walmart. You see how old this box looks?
Mm-hmm.
This box is actually very, very old. These items in here were collected by a young man about your age.
Yeah.
By the name of Benjamin.
Hey, he's in my class.
No. This Benjamin lived nearly 2,000 years ago.
A little too old to be in my class.
Yeah, little too old. But he collected these items to help him remember what happened that Passover week that last Passover week of Jesus' life here on this earth.
What's he got in there?
Well, let me take out the first item. All right.
It's a mustache.
No, it's not a mustache. It's hair.
What kind of hair?
Well, what kind of hair do you think it is?
Oh, it's Peter Cottontail's tail hair.
No, it is no bunnies, no chicks, no candy.
No fun.
No, seriously. This hair, this is donkey hair.
Okay, you're making this up.
Why?
Because Easter is not about donkeys.
No. I didn't say Easter was about donkeys. This is going to help us tell a part of the story of Jesus' last week here on this earth.
Oh, okay. How does a donkey play into this?
All right, so Benjamin says that in his letter that he wrote to go with this box, he says that one day, it was almost Passover, and a couple of men came to his dad's house, to his family's house, and they started to untie the donkey that was out in front of the house.
They're just going to take it?
Well, they were going to take it, and when his dad confronted him, his dad said, what are you doing? And they said, the master needs the donkey.
The master being Jesus.
Exactly, the master being Jesus. And so Benjamin's father, naturally, he knew who Jesus was. He had heard about Jesus. He and his family were believers. And so he said, absolutely, you may take the donkey. And then the men made arrangements to stay at Benjamin's house up in the upper room above their home.
Oh, that's cool. But there's got to be more.
There is more. There's more to the donkey story. Benjamin led the donkey, took it with the men, and took it to where Jesus was at.
Oh, he got to meet Jesus?
He got to meet Jesus.
That is so cool. I want to meet Jesus.
How many of you want to meet Jesus?
Oh, good. I can't raise my hand, though.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome.
It's kind of tough.
Okay. So he got to meet Jesus. And when he got there with the donkey, the disciples, they took their coats off of themselves. They put it on top of the donkey. And then Jesus sat on the donkey. And then people grabbed palm branches. They cut palm branches down and they started waving them in the air. And they shouted, Hosanna to the Son of David. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord.
Why did they do that?
Well, they were welcoming Jesus like a king into Jerusalem.
No, wait a minute. Kings don't ride donkeys.
Well, normally they wouldn't.
They ride in Rolls Royces.
They could ride in Rolls Royces, but they didn't really have Rolls Royces back then.
Oh, good point.
And this was actually a fulfillment of prophecy.
What do you mean?
Well, Zechariah, he was a prophet. He told that Jesus was going to be a king coming humbly into Jerusalem.
He did.
500 years before.
500 years? How did he know?
Well, he was a prophet.
So prophets know it's going to happen before it happens?
Well, yeah.
So I am a prophet.
Wait. What? How are you a prophet?
I said I was going to eat candy until I got sick, and it's going to happen, so therefore I am a prophet.
No, you are not.
Why?
Because that's a natural consequence of your action. The Holy Spirit told Zechariah about what was going to happen.
Oh, so you got to have the Holy Spirit?
Got to have the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
That is a good thing. I don't know that I would want you to be a prophet.
That is so not nice.
All right. So he predicted that Jesus was going to enter into Jerusalem as a king, but as a humble king. And Jesus did. And do you know where Benjamin was?
Where?
He was right there alongside of the donkey, leading the donkey. He had his hand on the donkey's mane, and he says in his letter, he looked up and he saw Jesus, and Jesus looked down at him and smiled.
Do you think Jesus ever looks down at me and smiles?
I think he does.
I think he smiles at you too.
You think so?
Not as much as me, but sure.
Okay. What about them?
I don't know.
Well, I think that God smiles at any of God's children that look to him.
Then I would say yes. He definitely smiles at you all.
I think he does. I think he very much does. So, when Benjamin got back to the house,
Yeah.
he had some work to do because they were getting ready for the disciples and Jesus at the house. But he went to the market.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about our next item that tells the next part of the story. The next thing is...
Money!
Stop.
I gotta...
Stop.
I want money.
I know you want money.
Hey, Easter is about money.
No, Easter is not about money.
If you throw it in the yard, I'll go find it.
Okay, no, I am not throwing my money out in the yard.
I'll be out there for hours.
I may throw money out in the yard. Now, no, money is not about Easter. This money actually comes into the story because when Benjamin went to the market,
Yeah.
he walked past the temple, and at the temple, he overheard something that kind of bothered him.
What was it?
He heard some men talking about how somebody was going to betray Jesus and turn Jesus over to them.
Uh-oh. What did he do?
Well, he ran back home, he put the stuff in the kitchen, and then he ran upstairs to tell Jesus.
Oh, good boy.
It was very good, but
Uh-oh.
somebody wouldn't let him in to see Jesus.
Who was it?
It was a man by the name of Judas, one of Jesus' disciples.
Why wouldn't he let him in?
He said, Jesus is too busy to work with to talk to a little child right now. Tell me the message and I'll make sure he gets it.
Oh, that was nice.
Well, it would have been nice, but Judas was the one who was going to betray Jesus.
Wait a minute. Judas was one of Jesus' followers, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Why would he do that?
Well, you remember how the people welcomed Jesus into the kingdom, into Jerusalem?
Yeah, like a king.
Well, Judas and the other disciples and all those people, they thought that Jesus was going to be a different kind of king.
What kind?
They thought that Jesus was going to help them to escape from Roman rule because the Romans were ruling over them.
Yeah.
They thought that Jesus was going to lead an army and defeat them, and that the Israelites would be the greatest nation on earth.
Well, if Jesus was leading it, they would.
That's true, but that's not what Jesus came to do the first time.
What did he do?
He came to beat Satan and to defeat sin.
Oh, so Judas had a wrong idea.
He really did. And so did the other people. So Judas, he thought that because Jesus was taking so long,
Oh, how long?
he'd been waiting for Jesus to declare himself king for like more than 3 years now.
That's a little while.
That is a while. And he thought if I could speed things up, if I could make Jesus say to the leaders that he was the king, that they would get behind him and they would be able to defeat the Romans. Because, I mean, with a king like Jesus, what did Jesus do when somebody was sick?
He healed them.
And if somebody was crippled, what did he do?
He made them whole.
And when somebody died, what could Jesus do?
Well, he could raise them up.
So if you had that kind of a king for an army, you would stand a very good chance of winning.
Well, yeah, definitely.
And Judas figured, hey, if I was the one who made him finally say I'm king and got the ball rolling, then I will be the most important person in the kingdom.
Oh, but that's not what Jesus was going to do.
That's exactly right. But what Judas did, now don't go crazy.
What's that supposed to mean?
What Judas did is he took a coin out of his bag, because he was the money handler for the disciples, and he gave it to Benjamin, and he said, this is your reward for telling me. Don't tell anybody else, because we don't know who we can trust.
Oh, and Benjamin didn't know all this, did he?
No, he didn't know any of this. He found out about it later. And that's why he says in his letter that he'd never even spent the coin, because he didn't feel right about spending it when he found out what happened. He just kept it so that it would remind him about the story.
Well, I'm glad he kept it.
I'm glad he kept it too. So after that, it was time for dinner, and Jesus and the disciples ate their meal,
Yeah.
and then Benjamin snuck up there, and that's when he got the next item.
It looks like bread.
It is bread.
I'm hungry.
You want to eat this bread?
Sure, why not?
Do you know how old this bread is?
How old?
A little bit less than 2,000 years.
Not hungry anymore.
Are you sure?
Get it away!
But you seemed like you wanted it.
Well, not anymore.
Okay, well, would you like to know why the bread is in there?
Yeah, why is it?
Okay, now, when Jesus and his disciples had finished their meal, Jesus did something very strange, and Benjamin was watching from a crack in the door. He was watching, and he saw Jesus get up. He saw Jesus take off his outer coat and wrap a towel around his waist, and then he filled a basin with water.
Yeah, what was he going to do?
Well, you know how the disciples were always arguing about who's going to be the greatest?
Mm-hmm.
He was going to do something for them with that water. He was going to wash their feet to teach them about serving others and to show them that they were not any more important than anyone else, especially not as important as he was.
Why didn't he just throw the water on them and say, snap out of it, dudes?
Is that what Jesus would do?
Well, I guess not.
No. He needed to change their hearts so that they'd be ready to hear what he was going to say a little bit later.
So he washed their feet?
He did. He got down on his hands and knees. This is the creator of heaven and earth, and he got down on his hands and knees, and he washed the dirt and the sweat and the dust off of their feet.
That's disgusting.
Well, it is kind of disgusting, but think about it. If Jesus would do that for them, look at the great lengths that he would go to save us. Washing their feet was nothing compared to what Jesus did to save us.
Well, that's true.
And if Jesus would do it, he's trying to teach his disciples, and he's trying to teach all of us that we need to be able to do that as well.
So I got to wash someone's feet?
Well, maybe that's one way that you serve, but you can also serve by helping your mom, by taking out the garbage,
Yeah,
by maybe helping your teacher with some things at school,
yeah.
maybe even by getting along a little bit better with your sister.
That's pushing it.
Well, come on. But you can help. There are ways that you can help, and you can serve other people. And that's what Jesus is trying to teach us, is that we're not too good to serve others, even when they're dirty and smelly.
And that helped him to get ready for what he was going to tell them after?
I think it did. After the meal, and after washing their feet, Jesus went back to the table, and he took some bread, and he took some grape juice, and he shared it with his disciples, and he said, "This is my body that has been broken for you." The bread represents his body, because when we eat something, what happens to it?
It gets digested.
It does get digested. And all those nutrients that are inside of that food, where does that go?
All my teacher's going to get mad if I don't get this one right.
Come on, you know this.
It goes all through our bodies.
It does. It goes all through our bodies, into all of our cells, and some of it becomes building blocks for new cells for us. It becomes a part of us.
So when we take Jesus in, he becomes part of us.
That is so right, Rusty.
That is so cool.
And he said that the wine, the grape juice, was his blood that was going to be spilled for them. So he tried to help them to understand, and before they weren't ready. So now he was able to tell them about some important things that they were going to need to think about, especially in the near future.
Wow. So Benjamin took a leftover?
He did. He took a leftover. When his family was cleaning up after the breaking of the bread and the drinking of the juice, Judas,
Yeah.
he left.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he left. He went out to do his thing. And when the disciples had sung a song, they went out, they left, and Benjamin and his family came and cleaned up. And then Benjamin,
Yeah.
being about your age,
Yeah.
snuck out.
Uh-oh.
You know what he did?
What?
He was so curious about Jesus. He wanted to know more and more about what was going on, that he went to find Jesus.
Wasn't it nighttime?
It was nighttime.
Wasn't it dangerous?
It could have been dangerous, yeah. But he went out and he started asking people, "Hey, did you see Jesus come this way?" And they pointed and they showed which direction Jesus had gone to, and then he came to a garden.
The Garden of Eden?
No, a different garden. Garden of Gethsemane.
Oh, I heard of that place.
And this is where he picked up his next item.
What is it? It's a rock.
It is a rock.
Is that the one that David used against Goliath?
No, it's not that one.
Well, it's just a rock.
Well, would you like me to tell you why this rock is so special, why he took it?
You're going to have to, because I'm not getting this.
Okay, all right. He took this rock for a special reason. When he got to the garden, he was walking along and he noticed that there were 8 of Jesus' followers that were asleep by the side of the road.
Yeah, they're just Snoozing?
They were just snoozing. And he walked a little bit further, and there were 3 of Jesus' other disciples just snoozing as well.
Why are they all sleeping?
Well, because it was nighttime, they were tired. Do you know where Jesus was?
Sleeping too?
No, he wasn't sleeping. He was on ahead a little ways, and Benjamin went up the path a little bit further, and he saw Jesus, and Jesus was doing something, and it kind of worried Benjamin a little bit.
What was he doing?
He was praying.
Why would that worry anyone? We all pray.
Yeah, we all do pray, but Jesus was praying more fervently than anybody ever had prayed.
How do you know?
Well, Benjamin saw great drops of sweat forming on Jesus' brow, and they were blood. And it would trickle down his nose, and it would drop on the ground, and it would run into his beard right there on the ground. Jesus was praying so hard, and Benjamin was very worried about him.
Well, what was he praying about?
Well, he was praying about every single person here.
Everyone?
Everyone there, everyone that he knew, everyone that has ever lived. He was praying because Jesus had an important decision to make.
What was that?
Well, God had a plan to get rid of sin.
Yeah.
What does the Bible tell us is a penalty for sin?
Oh, that's easy. Death.
That's right. And how many people have sinned?
All of us?
All of us.
You guys are all bad.
Stop. They're no worse than you.
That was rude.
Okay, so the point is, we all deserve what?
Well, we all deserve death.
So Jesus had a decision to make. God had a way to save us from our sins, save us from death. But Jesus had to do something very painful and very hard if that was going to happen.
And so he was trying to decide what to do.
Because part of him didn't want to do it because he knew that it was going to be really tough, really hard. But then the other part said, Father, I trust you. I know that you know what you're doing, and I'm going to do what you want because that's the only way that we're going to make this happen. So Benjamin heard Jesus say, not my will, but yours be done, Father. And then Jesus collapsed.
He did?
He did. He was so exhausted from that prayer. Benjamin almost ran up to him, but then all of a sudden there was a light.
What was it?
It was an angel.
Benjamin got to see an angel?
He got to see an angel.
That is so cool. I want to see an angel.
You want to see an angel?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jesus is going to come with a lot of angels here in just when he comes to take us home, you're going to get to see lots and lots of angels.
That will be so cool.
That would be very cool. I'm glad that you're excited about that. But Benjamin saw an angel, and the angel knelt down beside Jesus. He put his arm across Jesus' shoulders, and he talked with him, and he helped him to stand up, and he strengthened him, and then the angel vanished.
Into thin air?
He was gone.
Whoa. I'll bet Benjamin would never forget that.
He never did. He never did. And when the angel had gone, Jesus walked down the path to go back to the disciples, and Benjamin ran over to the very spot that Jesus had been praying, and he picked up this rock.
I would never let that go.
I wouldn't either. That would be such a special thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah. That is neat.
It's very cool. But something else happened that night too.
What?
Well, our next item tells us about it.
It's a rope.
It is a rope.
Hey, is that the one he led the donkey with?
Nope, that is not the one he led the donkey with.
It's a belt.
No, it's not a belt.
Well, what is it? I could do this all day.
No, you're not going to do this all day. Let me tell you what happened first. When Jesus and the disciples were walking down the pathway, all of a sudden another group of people started to come up the pathway. And do you know who was in that group?
I had no idea.
Okay. Remember who it was that made the deal with the priests?
Yeah.
It was Judas.
Judas is coming?
Mm-hmm. And he had some temple guards, and he had some other people they were there to capture Jesus.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
That isn't good. And Judas told them, the one that I greet with a kiss, That's the one that, and I want you to grab him quick. And so when he walked up there to Jesus, he gave him a kiss on the cheek and he said, Master. And all of a sudden, some people tried to grab Jesus. And you know what Peter did?
What?
He took out his sword
Yeah?
and he hacked a guy's ear off.
Is there an ear in there?
No, there's not an ear in there.
I want to see.
No ear.
If I was there, I would have picked it up.
I know you would have picked it up.
The next day would have been the best show and tell ever.
Okay, stop.
Are you sure?
I'm sure there's no ear in there. In fact, Jesus did something amazing.
What did he do?
He reached out. He told Peter to put his sword away. He reached out and he touched the man on the side of the head where his ear had been cut off,
Yeah?
and he healed it so that his ear was right back in place.
But this guy was coming to arrest Jesus.
Yeah, he was.
Why would Jesus do that?
Because Jesus loves even those who don't love him.
That's hard to do.
It's very hard to do, but Jesus did that. And you know, who knows, maybe that person, because of that act of kindness of Jesus, maybe he gave his heart to Jesus.
That'd be cool.
That would be very cool. So Jesus is kind even to those, and he loves even those who don't love him, and some of those people will learn to love him.
I hope they do.
I hope they do as well. So when the disciples saw that Jesus wasn't going to fight, they all took off out of there. They all left him.
All of them?
They were afraid that they were going to get arrested too, so they all took off. Benjamin stayed behind and watched, and one of the men came up and they grabbed a rope and Jesus up with it. They dropped a piece of the rope because it wasn't that good. It was kind of fraying.
Yeah.
And they dropped it, and when they had gone, Benjamin ran over and grabbed the rope, and so he could take it and save it in his box.
Wow. What a night.
Yeah, but you know what? The night's not even over yet.
It's really late. What else could happen?
Well, the group that took Jesus, they took him to the high priest's house.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the father-in-law's house, the high priest's father-in-law's house, and they had a trial there. And there were a lot of people standing around the courtyard, and Benjamin snuck in there, and he was kind of watching, trying to see what was going on. He wanted to find out what was going to happen to Jesus.
I'd be curious too.
And he was watching, and he saw two other followers of Jesus come in. And one of them was Peter. He recognized him because he's the one who had the sword.
Yeah.
And they were just kind of standing around trying to see what was going on. And pretty soon it was getting very cold, and so Peter made his way over by a fire, and that's where Benjamin was standing as well. And so Benjamin heard some people asking Peter. They said, "You're one of Jesus' disciples, aren't you?" And you know what Peter said?
He said, "Why, yes, I am. Thank you for asking."
No.
He didn't?
No, he was afraid.
Man, just a little while ago, he had a sword. He was gonna hack someone up, and now he's afraid.
Peter was brave on the outside, but he was very scared on the inside, and he was afraid that what was happening to Jesus was going to happen to him. So he was telling people he didn't know who Jesus was. In fact, he swore an oath. He says, "I swear that I do not know who this person is." And then a rooster crowed.
That's a weird thing to say.
It does sound kind of weird, but the rooster crowing reminded Peter of something that Jesus had said.
What did he say?
He said that before the rooster crowed, that Peter was going to deny him 3 times, and he did.
Did he feel bad?
He felt very bad. He ran from there, he cried, and he repented. He was not the same person. He realized how weak he really was, and he was never the same person.
Wow. Must have hurt Jesus for Peter to deny him.
It did hurt Jesus, and it hurts him when we deny him too, so we have to be very careful that we don't deny him with our words or with our actions.
I got to try a little harder.
I think we all kind of have to try a little harder sometimes.
Yeah.
So Benjamin realized when the rooster crowed, he realized, I have been out all night long. I better get home before I get in trouble. And so he ran home and was able to get home before his mom and dad knew what was going on. And he helped them with the chores, he ate his breakfast, and then he left again.
Where did he go?
Well, he went back to the high priest's father-in-law's house to see if he could find what happened to Jesus, but nobody was there.
No one?
No one was there. But he did find something.
What did he find? A burnt stick.
A burnt stick.
How impressive.
Okay, do you know this was a stick that was left over from the fire that he had been warming himself by that night. So he wanted to remember what happened, so he grabbed this, and as he was picking it up, a girl, the same girl that he had seen asking Peter if he was one of Jesus' disciples, he saw her, and she asked what he was doing, and he asked her, where did they take Jesus?
And she told him?
She told him. And so he thanked her, and he rushed off to find Jesus, but when he got to Pilate's hall,
Who's Pilate?
he was the governor, he was ruling in the area, and when he got there, Jesus wasn't there either.
Well, where was he?
Well, he's going to find him in just a few minutes, but I'm going to warn you that when he finds Jesus, this is going to be a part of the story you're not going to like very much.
I can take it.
You can take it?
I'm tough.
You are tough.
Tough enough.
Okay. Well, when he got there and he asked one of the soldiers who was there if Jesus was there, and the soldier told him, go home, little boy. You don't need to be bothering with this stuff. And he wouldn't tell Jesus anything, or wouldn't tell Benjamin anything. And so Benjamin was looking and trying to find him, and all of a sudden he heard a noise in the distance.
What did he hear?
He heard a crowd, and this crowd sounded very angry, but then he also heard voices that sounded like they were crying, and he was trying to figure out what was going on, and so he followed his ears, and he came upon a big crowd of people, pushed his way through, and this is where we're going to talk about our next item. And remember, this part's not going to be very pleasant to talk about.
It's okay. Dude, get those away.
What? These are just thorns.
He's going to poke me.
I'm not going to poke you.
You promise?
I promise. This is part of the next part of the story. This is going to help Benjamin remember the next part of the story.
How do thorns have anything to do with this?
Well, when he finally pushed his way through the crowd, he saw Jesus, and Jesus was a mess.
What do you mean?
Jesus was bloodied. He had pieces of his beard missing.
What?
He had a crown of thorns that were pressed down onto his head, so he was bleeding from his head as well. And he was carrying a heavy wooden cross.
What's going on?
Well, when Jesus was at Pilate's judgment hall, Pilate did not want to send Jesus to be crucified, even though that's what the Jewish leaders wanted. He wanted to just maybe punish Jesus, and maybe that would satisfy the Jews.
Yeah?
And so he had Jesus whipped.
They whipped him?
They whipped him. They punched him in the face. They put a blindfold on him. They ripped out pieces of his beard. They even put a purple robe on Jesus and put a crown of thorns on his head. And they bowed down to him, pretending to honor him.
You're right, I don't like this story.
Well, it gets better. I promise it will get better.
Get better, because I'm not liking this so much at all.
Nobody really likes this part of the story, but it does get better, I promise you.
All right.
Okay, so Jesus fell down under the weight of the cross, the heavy wooden cross that he was carrying, and the cross banged against his head, and it knocked part of the crown of thorns, broke part of it. And when the crowd had passed, the soldiers actually grabbed somebody out of the crowd and made him carry Jesus' cross because Jesus was so weak. And when the crowd moved on, Benjamin ran over and grabbed this because he never wanted to forget what he saw.
I would want to forget.
Well, I kind of would want to forget that too, but it's important that we don't.
Why?
Because all of that stuff that Jesus was going through and what Jesus goes through next, he did it for us.
He did that for us?
Every one of us. And if we don't think about that, then we really don't appreciate the sacrifice that Jesus made and how important it is that we turn our lives over to him.
All right, well, you promise the story gets better.
I promise the story gets better.
All right.
Okay. So when when they got up to the top of the hill,
Yeah.
they laid the cross down on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
they stretched Jesus out on it, and they nailed him to the cross.
This is not better.
Well, no, it's not better yet. It will get better.
How's it going to get better? He's nailed to a cross.
Well, yeah, he is nailed to a cross. And they stuck the cross in the ground. There were two people on either side of him. And Benjamin saw that some of the people were laughing and calling out to him, saying, "Come on, Jesus, you could save others. Why don't you save yourself?"
That's just mean.
It was very mean. And others were crying because they loved Jesus and they couldn't believe this was happening. Jesus' mother was there as well.
It must have broke her heart.
It absolutely did break her heart. And Jesus was up there for a very long time, and there was a darkness that settled over the land. And Jesus, finally, after so much suffering, he said, "Father, into your hands." Well, first of all, he said, "Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing."
They didn't know?
Well, they kind of knew what they were doing, but they really didn't understand all of it. And he wanted God to forgive them.
Even the ones who were taunting him?
Even those.
Even the soldiers who crucified him?
Even those.
Wow. God's forgiveness is great.
His forgiveness is absolutely great, and it extends to all of us, no matter how bad we've been.
Wow.
And after a little while, Jesus called out to his Father. He says, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." And he yelled, and then he died.
This is the worst story ever.
You think it's the worst story ever?
I want to talk about Easter bunnies and chicks and stuff because that's happy.
It is a lot happier to think about those things, but if you just bear with me for just a little while longer, I promise you this will be the best story you've ever heard.
Well, right now it's about the worst.
Okay, I understand that. I do understand that. So Benjamin, when they took Jesus off the cross, Benjamin followed to see where they put him, because Benjamin is still just trying to figure out what is all this going on. He was your age. You're trying to figure out what's going on as well.
Yeah, and I'm not even there.
And so Benjamin followed, and he saw where they laid Jesus. He saw some of the women who left afterwards, and he followed them, and they were going back to his house.
What were they doing there?
Well, when he got to his house, they were preparing something very special.
What is that?
Smell it.
I'm not falling for that.
No. Smell it.
Hey, it kind of smells like perfume.
It does smell like perfume, because they went back to Benjamin's house. Benjamin's mom and some of the other women, they put together some spices and some perfumes, because they were going to go back early Sunday morning and they were going to embalm Jesus. They were going to prepare his body for burial, because they couldn't do it then. It was Friday. It was late. It was almost the Sabbath, and they needed to go home and rest. So they made these, then they went and rested, and they kept the Sabbath. It was the saddest Sabbath ever.
This is the saddest story ever.
Well, yeah. But then early Sunday morning, some of the women went to go to the tomb, and something kind of interesting happened.
Kind of interesting?
Well, actually, it wasn't kind of interesting. It was spectacular.
What?
When they got there, Jesus wasn't there.
Someone took him?
No, nobody took him.
Where was he?
Well, nobody knew. And so the women rushed back to tell what had happened, to say that the tomb was empty. Jesus
Yeah.
had risen from the dead.
No way.
Yes way.
Jesus died? And he's alive?
Jesus died and he's alive. And because he's alive, guess what that means for you and me?
What?
It means that we can be forgiven, and it means that we can live for eternity.
Hey, I think my Sabbath school lesson said something about that.
What was your Sabbath school lesson? What did your memory verse say?
It said, "For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish," that's died,
I know what it means.
"but have everlasting life."
And where is that found?
John 3:16.
Okay. That is a promise. And when Jesus died and was buried and rose again,
Yeah.
he fulfilled that promise, that part of the promise. So now we get to look forward to,
His second coming.
we get to look forward to his second coming. Absolutely. There's one more thing in the box. Do you want to see what it is?
Yeah.
All right. It is
Well, it kind of looks like paper.
It kind of looks like paper, but it's not.
What is it?
It's lambskin.
I'm not touching it.
You're excited about an ear, but you're not going to touch lambskin.
It's kind of weird. And what's that writing?
Well, I can't read that writing.
Why not?
Well, can you read that writing?
No.
It's because it's in Hebrew.
Oh, what does it say?
Well, Benjamin's letter says that he wrote on this piece of sheepskin, he wrote the last words that he heard Jesus say.
Well, what are they?
He said that he heard Jesus say to his disciples, "Go and teach everyone, everywhere, the things that I have commanded you. Make disciples, baptize them," and he said, "I am with you always, even unto the end of the world."
Whoa. Jesus is with us.
He's absolutely with us. And so Benjamin uses this box. This box has been all over the place because Benjamin died a long time ago. This box goes all over the place, and people use the things that Benjamin collected to tell about Jesus and to tell about God's great love for us. And now we have the chance to do the exact same thing. Go to the people that we know and tell them about how much God loves us and what great things he has done for us, and that he's coming back again.
Hey, do you think God would use me like that?
I think he just did.
Hey, he did.
He did. And he wants to use all of us that way as well.
That is so cool. I can't wait for Jesus to come back.
Well said, Rusty. Well said.